Hello and welcome to Student Voice. I'm Monchel Young. Many of us know that some businesses, small and large, have suffered during the pandemic. For example, big businesses such as Neiman Marcus, J. Crew, and Chuck E. Cheese have all filed bankruptcy. Some may wonder how small businesses have survived the pandemic locally. Small businesses in Chattanooga have been able to keep their doors open. With us today, we have two local small business owners here in Chattanooga.
Tanner Appling.
Tanner Dehart.
All right. So what type of small business do you own?
So we actually own a sneaker, vintage, and streetwear store. It's located here in Chattanooga off East Brainerd and Gun Barrel Road. For the most part, we have retro Jordans, Yeezys, and then on the vintage side, we have anything from racing shirts to wrestling to anything that's music related, like bands, anything that just has to do with pop culture that brings any kind of nostalgia to people. And then as well as we have tons of streetwear brands. Most of the popular ones that people know is like Supreme and Bape. An Antisocial, Social Club, but we have a large range, and we're also trying to expand everything that we have from our shoes and vintage in our streetwear.
Okay, so what would you say is like the highest selling shoe you've had?
Yeezys and Jordan 1s for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say the top grossing like amount. I'd say we've had a few Jordan 1 Travis Scotts in there. I think they've sold anywhere from the range of like 900 to 1100. And then I think our highest grossing shoe has actually been it was a Nike SB Dunk, which was the Grateful Dead collaboration. We actually had the green one in there. I think we sold that one for 1500. So
we had the Chunky Dunky as well.
And we've also had the Ben and Jerry Chunky Dunkies in there as well.
Really?
So
Our biggest thing was like we just wanted like under one roof various different outlets of people to shop, like you don't have to particularly like something specific to shop with us. We wanted to kind of put it all housed in one, store. We felt like Chattanooga didn't have that. It was like, they always catered towards one specific thing. Right. I feel like we really wanted to target various different outlets, and I think that's what helped us.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that we also wanted to focus on is completing your outfit, right? So we knew that, we look around and we see other stores. There's either, just a shoe store that has, a wall full of shoes. Well, that's great, but it's kind of like, well, what do you put your shoes with? Exactly. So if you look at our platforms, our social media platforms, what we try to do is we piece outfits together, right? So we take a Jordan or a Yeezy shoe and we put it with a pair of, vintage pants and maybe a vintage t-shirt, or we put a whole fit together where you've got, your Supreme shirt and your maybe like a Eric Emanuel shorts, which those are a newer brand if you aren't aware.
Them are expensive though.
Yeah, they are expensive. Yeah, so the streetwear stuff kind of gets expensive. But like I said, like, kind of like Tanner said, we try to make sure that we kind of cultivate to everyone. We want everybody to feel comfortable that comes in, and rather if you're just looking for a used shoe that's not as expensive, that's in like the $100 to $120 range, we have those. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're looking for a vintage shirt, we have, I think our lowest vintage stuff is like $20, $25, $30 maybe. Okay. But then we also have stuff that's catered to the higher end stuff within the culture where we've got shoes that are over $1,000. We have vintage shirts that are $150, $200. Right. So we have the more expensive stuff too, but we wanted to have a broad range of product for everybody to be able to shop with us.
So it's good that you can cater to various of different customers that come into your business. So how would you say, how did COVID-19 affect the business?
It actually affected us in a very positive way. With online orders, there for about, it was like I think 2 months roughly, where non-essential businesses were closed. So we were forced to shut down our storefront. We tried the whole, curbside service kind of situation, but in the retail industry, it's kind of hard. You can't try things on, and it's hard to do it that way. We had a few customers that were able to, work with us through that service. But mostly like online orders really just went off the charts for us during that time. And that was awesome just because, globally, things are affected, so everyone was just shopping online at the time. Everybody was bored at home, getting unemployment checks and things of that nature. So we saw like a huge increase in online sales for sure.
Yeah, because I think before COVID, we were only focused in store. We had no online presence, e-commerce presence at all.
Really?
Yeah, we really did. We just didn't have the time. It was mostly just me and Tanner in the store, and we really were just focusing on growing our social media platform within Instagram, with posting on Instagram. But in regards to having a website and actually posting shoes, updating them every day, and going on platforms like Grailed and eBay and places where you can find that type of product, we just weren't doing that because we really wanted to cater locally. But like I said,
and the time.
The time was the time in. But like I said, when we were forced to shut down the store because of COVID, we really focused on that because we know no one was coming in the store, and that's where we really saw like, hey, e-commerce is a big thing, and we're able to outreach to globally, really, like Tanner said, we're able to reach so many more people with our product and with our brand when we were able to focus on e-commerce.
Okay. So how you spoke about people receiving unemployment checks, were y'all able to take advantage of the small business relief loans that they sent out?
Yeah, so in regards to the loans, we were actually fortunate enough to not have to take out a loan. Luckily, we were new in our business, and we had a lot of stock built up from when we started, so it's not like we had to go out and buy a whole bunch of product. So we really wanted to leave that for some of the smaller businesses like restaurants here locally that could not make any money. So we tried to really focus and say, hey, is this something we can take advantage of, or hey, do we need to maybe let the money go to someone else that really needs it, for a business that can't sell online, or can't sell food online or something like that. So we ended up not taking advantage of the small business loan, which I think was an advantage to us, because we that's not something that we have to pay back to somebody.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was nice to be able to get through this time without having to take advantage of that.
That's amazing, because that's hard with a lot of businesses closing during that time too, and y'all not needing that loan. So y'all doing great.
And I'm sure some businesses were saved by those loans,
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm sure there's some that weren't, but some I'm sure made it through because of those loans. So I think it was a great thing.
So what do you feel, what steps are you taking or have you taken to keep your business successful during this time?
We just plan accordingly. We plan for the future, like just about every week. As many meetings as we can. We look at our competition consistently, and we just focus on what we're doing right and things that we can change and improve on. We connect, the difference between us is we connect a lot with our community, whether it's through social media or just personal interaction within the store.
Right.
We're really close with our community and our customers. And I think that's a big difference between us, because we just hear firsthand, what they're enjoying about us, what they're not, and experiences that they don't get other places that we're able to provide for them. So I think that just helps the future as well.
That's great.
Yeah, and in regards to getting people in the store, that's kind of the big thing, right? Because people they message on Instagram and say, hey, my buddy told me about you guys. Are you guys open? So people are still people don't know. People still are making assumptions that, hey, maybe the store is closed because of COVID. Maybe they're only doing online. So our biggest goal is to drive people in the store. So as much as we can do to post on social media, to put outfits together and show stuff that we're selling, lets people know and lets the community know, hey, we're still open. As long as you got a mask on, as long as you put some Germ-X when you come into the store and when you leave, we're open. Come hang out. Come hang out with us. So that's the biggest thing, is we're trying to drive people to the store so that we can build relationships with them. Building off kind of what Tanner said about growing with the community and being close to our customers, is that we constantly ask for feedback. We want to know, the reason that we did this store is because there wasn't anything in Chattanooga, and we wanted to give the opportunity for the community to have somewhere to hang out and enjoy the sneaker culture.
All right.
And so that's really where we focus on asking for feedback. Hey, do you guys like this? Is the price too high? Is the price too low? Well, we constantly ask, what are some things, what's something that you came in here in your mind that you were looking for that wasn't in here? So we constantly always ask for feedback and try to drive the things that we know that the community wants, and maybe that we don't know that they want. And so we have people come in and bring in new ideas to us that we've implemented into the store.
And
I
even with
y'all catering to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with new customers that come in the store, one of the first things we're asking them is how did you hear about us? We're constantly looking for where did you hear about us? What brought you into us? What intrigued you to want to come in and visit our store?
Right.
And is this an environment that we set off? Is it the right environment? Do you enjoy this kind of environment? Those kind of things.
You have a pretty good environment.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it when I stepped foot in.
We really wanted to make it a different environment, but a comfortable one at the same time. So I did a lot of the original like arrangements of the store and the decoration. Like I really just, in my own head, like I wanted people to feel like, you know, as soon as they open that door, oh, like this like almost feels like I'm like shopping in my friend's closet, or, you know, just a very homey kind of vibe. Like I wanted people to feel comfortable. And we've heard from some of our customers that like they truly feel comfortable as soon as they walk in the store, whether it's just from us talking to them or just the environment that's around them. They feel comfortable, and that's what I really wanted.
That's a great vibe. You definitely set the tone. Y'all have a great vibe in the store.
Thank you.
Have y'all thought about opening any more locations within Chattanooga?
Yeah, for sure. So not really within Chattanooga, but we definitely have plans to expand. We probably not too far, but you know, from what we talked about from a 2 to 5 year plan for us is that we definitely want to open up possibly a Nashville location.
Knoxville as well.
And Knoxville as well. Yeah, we feel like those two cities have some stores in them, but not the vibe that Quickstrike brings. And so I think that that's something that the culture would really enjoy in both of those locations. And so that's kind of our short-term plan is to continue to grow and open up stores around the tri-state and especially the Tennessee area.
Conquer the state of Tennessee, and then it's just up from there.
I believe you can do it.
Thank you.
I believe both you guys can do it. Do y'all have any tips for local small business owners?
A tip that I would just say, like the most important thing is what we focus on, like I've already mentioned. The biggest tip I could give is just stay connected to your community and your customers, you know. Like learn what they want, learn their needs, learn, you know, who they are as people.
Right.
I mean, I've met so many of our customers, and it's just like they've changed my life just from knowing them, you know, and I hope I've inspired them. I mean, I've had, you know, younger adults come in and say that I've inspired their style. And starting the store, I never thought that I would inspire somebody else on how they dress.
Right.
But it's an awesome experience, and that's the one tip I would say.
That's good.
Yeah, a few things I would say is definitely kind of like going back to what we talked about, the feeling and the vibe of the store is that we wanted, obviously it's a store, but we wanted people to come in and be able to feel a nostalgia and see things that aren't necessarily things that have sticker prices on them, right? So we wanted to kind of cultivate around the customer to come in. Like we have movie posters, you know, and we've got little action figures from the 90s. So it's like we wanted people to come in and feel comfortable to where it's centered around the customer to where we can have a conversation with them about something before their like products even talked about. You know, like, hey, what do you know? You think about most people when they walk into a store, the first thing is like, oh, hey, you know, what are you looking for? You know, what can I help you with? What are you looking to buy? It's like our first conversation when somebody says, oh, that's really cool. You know, and we talk about like, well, hey, how do you relate to that? You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, they bring up a story or a conversation or a memory in their mind about like, oh man, I remember back, you know, when I was a kid, you know, with this, that, and the other. So,
or even like what shoes they have on that day, you know, it's like, oh, when did you get those? Like, where did you get those? Like, I haven't seen those in like 5 years, you know, and then they tell this whole story, you know, oh, I waited in line, you know, in New York for 2 hours and I was finally able to get them. And, you know, it's like it brings them back, and then it intrigues us as well. And then we can reflect off that. So it's just like, it's a whole storytelling kind of process to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And advice related to an actual small business that maybe be struggling this time is really just staying persistent. It's about keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're gonna hit some roadblocks, and it's just make sure you realize, you know, when you're hitting a roadblock, and just kind of change lanes a little bit and stay persistent with what you're doing. And, you know, add a few things here and there to kind of, you know, spice up the business and kind of change around you're doing. And also stay true to social media and stay true to your customers. It's all about growing your community and constantly posting, constantly replying to comments, replying to DMs, and just building your community around what the brand that you're trying to build is going to constantly help you to grow. And
at the end of the day, stay true to your company and what got you there.
True.
I mean, that's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's factual. Well, you guys sound like you have a great strategy for sure to keep the success going. And I would just like to end it on that note. That is it for this episode of Student Voice. For more information about Quickstrike, visit quickstriketn.com.
Yes.
That's it.
We're on Instagram as well.
Quickstrike TN.
And that's the Instagram handle?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you guys have a great day.